r/nosleep. Hosted by you/BrittonRT. The Flipside. I work as a river rafting guide seasonally and web development contractor year-round. That means I find myself with a good chunk of the year where I'm only working part-time. I use my free time to do the things I love most: hiking, climbing, off-road biking, and generally exploring nature. I only got out of jail recently, and it was honestly by pure luck. Lack of evidence, and a good lawyer. Probably deserved to spend more time, but I'd take what I could get. Cost me a fortune though. I had recently gotten into caving after some friends dragged me through a few beautiful if a bit claustrophobic spelunking runs. I had done about 5 with them when I decided to try one on my own one weekday when nobody else was available to join. Not the best decision when cave diving, I know, but I am pretty fit and level-headed and didn't plan to do anything too risky. I'd just stick to the safe parts of it and make sure I didn't go beyond the length of my guide rope. When first I started caving a couple months before this, I had reconnected with an old acquaintance on Facebook who I knew had been into it back when we worked together on the river. She had told me she hadn't gone far into it, but that it likely had some virgin sections and was definitely worth checking out. I had all the equipment I needed ready to go, so it was just a matter of throwing my pack in the Jeep and hitting the road. The unnamed cave isn't far from my house, about an hour and a half's drive, but I planned to camp nearby that night in case I wanted to go back in for a few hours the next morning. It was an uneventful ride and I decided to set up camp before going in. It was still early in the morning, but it sucks to have to do it after a long and exhausting day of physical activity. I made a second cup of coffee and took a moment to just enjoy the crisp air of the forest before finally grabbing my gear and heading to my destination. The entrance to the cave itself is rather hard to find if you don't know where to look. Basically just a small hole in the ground you have to squeeze through to get in. I tied my guide line to a nearby tree and started into the hole. I remember it being a bit tricky to wiggle through at first with my small pack, but I made it and flipped on my headlamp. The tunnel had been narrow and I had to crouch as I made my way through the first passage. Nothing too difficult so far, a mostly continuous downward slope between 2 large granite slabs. I had a spool on my guide line so I could go quite a ways before having to stop or turn back. I went through a few twists and at one point had to drop through another small hole, but the stone below was close enough it would be easy to climb back up. Down through another long dark corridor, there was little if any light from the cave's portal making its way to this section. My headlamp was bright, but it seemed to fail to penetrate the full length of this particular channel. So after some indeterminate period, I found the chamber my old colleague had ended her exploration at. It was an impressive space, easily 3 times my height and a football field in size. I had decided to sit in that place for a moment and eat one of my snack bars while I just soaked in the hidden enchantment of the deep dark. It felt lonely and alien. I had never done this before without the company of others, and being in the pitch black with nobody else in this space under the earth was a surreal experience. It was absolutely quiet, I recall. I could hear my own heartbeat in the silence. I sort of understand why many people were afraid of caves, but I found it exhilarating. I looked around for my next path and found there were several options. One of them scared the shit out of me. It was just a hole which went down to God knows what depths, my light couldn't find its end. Big nope on that one. Another went sharply down but looked navigable. There was a third which appeared to go up again. Maybe it would surface somewhere else, I had wondered? No way to know. I took the downward one and continued on. It was mostly more of the same sort of tunnel. Tight spaces between large granite titans on every side, vaguely rectangular at the best of times, with the occasional jutting bits getting in the way and requiring some extra gymnastics to navigate. I am sure I was smiling as I went. I felt like Indiana Jones, exploring the unknown. I wasn't certain if anyone had ever been this deep into this place before. But I'd quickly discovered the answer. I found the GoPro headset a bit further down along my descent. I saw it before I got to it, but it took me a moment to realize what it was as I approached. I picked it up and looked at it. It looked a bit scratched up, which made sense if someone had dropped it. I stuck it in a side pouch in my pack and continued onward. I eventually reached another large space, this one with little more than 5 feet of headroom I estimated, but a vast horizontal plane. I explored it for a while but couldn't reach the far side due to my line reaching its end. I could barely make it out in the dim light, so I pulled out my maglite torch and went for the high beams to get a better view of the chamber. On one end, the ceiling eventually collided with the floor at an angle. There wasn't much else except 2 more potential continuations of the cave on opposite ends of the room. I had to head back at that point, but since there had been few alternate paths, I was sure I could return without the line either the next morning or at some other point. When I made it back to my camp, much of the day still remained. I spent most of it reading and doing some work on my laptop. No internet, but I could still get some stuff done. I started a fire as the sun set, pulled out the whiskey I had brought along, and took a swig straight from the bottle. It burned, but that was to be expected. I remembered the GoPro. I fiddled for it in my pack, forgetting exactly which pocket I had stuck it in, but it presented itself after some minimal effort. Someone else had been in the cave before, and maybe had made it even further. I checked and there was an SD card in it. Fortunately, I had an SD slot in my laptop. Seemed like a good opportunity to scout ahead a bit, if I got lucky. I popped it in and to my delight it had videos on it. I opened up the first one, then the second. Then the last two. I left almost immediately after watching it all. I'm not going to share the videos as I don't want to betray the identities of those on it, nor will I be using real names, but from here on out, I'm simply going to give you the transcript of what was on that GoPro recording. I'll add my own notes in italics. Recording 1. Can you stop bumping into me, Michael? You stopped suddenly. Sorry, I had to take a second to pop on the video. I'll give you a heads up next time. It's fine, let's just keep going. At this point it was mostly just the sounds they made as they progressed for some time. They appeared to have just left the first chamber, taking the same route I had gone down. I forgot my knife. You're kidding me. I'm not, I can't find it. We may need to go back real quick, Jeff probably took it. Why would Jeff have taken it? He's just waiting at the car, probably fucking around on his phone. I felt a bit uneasy about these particular sentences, they struck rather close to home. The camera goes a bit crazy here. She's clearly waving her head around as she scrambles to reach around to her pack or whatever it is she has on her back. Just kidding, I found it. Fuck off, Jenny. Just go, I'm stuck here behind you unless you want me to climb over you. At this point she rotated for just a second and I got my first view of the man's face who accompanied the girl wearing the camera. A bit more time passed as they went on. Shit, look at this mic. We're gonna need a better light. And guess who brought one? Yes, you better have because I told you to. Honestly, you are lucky I even brought you along. It was the second chamber I had found, with the sloping ceiling. The camera turns a bit nauseatingly as two beams of light penetrate the darkness erratically. Let's take a quick break here while I check the map, there seems to be another fork here. Can you grab it, Mike? Feeling too lazy to take the pack off. You know this is definitely a prank. I've known Dennis since high school. The guy makes shit up all the time. Well, we'll find out, won't we? Okay, we are here. And the cave reversal happens here. So we aren't too far. I can see the map as they look at it. It's crudely drawn, but mostly accurate from what I experienced, with circles denoting rooms and lines denoting possible routes. It looks from the scribbled drawing like this Dennis had explored some of the other tunnels as well. At this point though I had missed an important detail which I wouldn't realize until much later. What do we do if what he said does end up being true? Well, you're free to run home, but I'm going to go in and record it. If it is real, this video footage will put my channel on the goddamned map. Your channel is already on the map. You have like 200,000 subs. I have bills to pay, bud. And you bunking with me rent-free ain't exactly helping to pay those bills. Point taken and accepted. Now they begin to make their way down the right passage. They proceed for some moments and it becomes a bit of a winding affair. Alright, this is the last room before it flips, I think. I'm gonna do a quick bit for the channel. Whatever. This is where I see the girl for the first time. She takes the camera off and looks straight into it, her face illuminated by the headlamp it's affixed to. I recognized her immediately, and frankly I had suspected as much based on her voice. But it was still shocking to see her again, especially in these circumstances. I thought it was crazy, that she had been here, in this same cave? I remember wondering if maybe she was still down there. The thought that she might be made me want to run away as I watched this for the first time. I didn't know anything of a Michael, but it had been a while since I had seen her and I just assumed he must be her new hookup. Hey guys and girls, Jennifer here. This is a bit of an unusual video, but we are in this spooky cave we found out about from a close friend of ours. This isn't going to be the usual urban exploration vid, this time we are going to find out if the rumors about this cave are true. What rumors, you ask? Well, I have it from reliable sources that there is a point in this cave where everything reverses. That's right, left becomes right and right becomes left. Weird, huh? So, we've filmed ourselves going into the cave and we'll find out if it's true, and you'll get to watch. Don't forget to smash that like button and sub. That was fucking painful. Shut up, Mike. Just finish eating your damned granola bar so we can keep going. It would be impossible for me to understate how horrific this particular bit was for me. I knew who she was quite well. But what would have brought her to this place? Anyways. Not much happens from here for about 5 minutes except the sound of chomping. The camera is set on the ground for a while. Eventually it goes back to her scalp and they venture on. Okay, we should be getting close now. Keep an eye out. How am I supposed to keep an eye out? You completely obstruct my view. Alright, I'll tell you if or when I spot it. I need to piss. Are you fucking shitting me? Go back up and take a piss and then get your ass back down here. I can't see it but can hear what sounds like Mike shuffling away, reversing toward where they had just originated from. Jennifer doesn't seem to bother waiting for him. This tunnel appears to be mostly straight now. Mike, get your ass down here. It took me a moment to notice it, but it became obvious quickly. There was a distinctly shaped boulder jutting from the edge of the tunnel a few feet ahead. And a few feet beyond that, a boulder with the same shape. Except on the other side of the tunnel. Recording 2. So what do you think? Hard to deny it's a bit bizarre. Could he have arranged it as some kind of joke? I dunno, Mike, but I'm gonna do another quick bit. The video turns back to the girl again after a bit of scrambling with her headgear. Alright, you awesome people, love you all. This is the moment of truth. The promised climax of this exciting journey. We have, in fact, found the reverse side of the cave. I know it's hard to believe, but look at this. Here she turns the camera back toward the tunnel and it remains there until she puts it back on her head. How can you explain that? Those are clearly the same rocks. And look, the shape of the tunnel ahead, check this out. Her head turns rapidly behind her, and this Michael winces as his eyes meet the beam of her headlamp. Look, it's the same this way too. You can see from the jutting on the edge over there, but if you look back down the tunnel, it's the same but backward. This is some pretty crazy stuff, guys. I'm gonna keep filming and I'll catch you all on the flip side. Now, when I first saw this part, I was pretty incredulous. Since when had she become a YouTuber for one, but more importantly, making a video about an impossible phenomenon? Definitely a hoax, something I wouldn't put past her. But they did indeed continue on down the corridor. It feels like deja vu, doesn't it? Yeah, honestly, I kind of feel like we should turn back, Jen. Are you kidding me? This is incredible. We're going back up again. It's the same exact twists and turns. Dennis was right, something fucky is going on here. I don't like it. Well, I fucking like it. Go back if you want. You know I'm not going to leave you alone in a cave. What if you were injured or something? We need to go back. Fuck off, I'm not going back yet. Seriously, Jennifer, this feels wrong. Look at that. That's the same goddamn step down I nearly tripped over earlier stepping up. But it's on the other fucking side. Does that not concern you at all? We'll turn around eventually, let's just get to that first chamber, okay? Then we can chill and consider our next steps. I want to note here that there was something off about the footage at this point. I didn't recognize it at first, but a bit later I came back and rewatched this segment and the earlier footage from when they first entered and confirmed it. While extremely similar, this tunnel was not an exact duplicate of their original path. There were some subtle differences which took some side-by-side comparisons on my part to identify, primarily in the rock structure. Anyways, they continued on up. I don't think they had noticed it yet. Yep, this is the same fucking room. Except that damn ceiling is sloping the wrong goddamn way. Just chill, Mike. How am I supposed to chill? This is like some impossible magic shit. You know, some people enjoy exploring the unknown? Step up, bro. You're gonna look like a little girl in this video if you don't stop bitching. You better not post this conversation. Oh, I'm posting the whole damn video, boy. We're gonna be famous as shit. You're right, you shouldn't have brought me along. Leave then. You can always go back to being a Chad with that idiot Macy. Fuck you. A period was spent in silence here and Jennifer appeared to be wandering about the space, recording its various angles and corners, their flashlights disorientingly flailing their light about. She went into another of her selfie presentation shots once she was done. Alright y'all, we've done it. We've made it to the same room we were in before, but as you can see, everything is on the opposite side. Pretty amazing, am I right? So what I am gonna do is make my way back out the cave and see if the surface is backwards as well. You have to be fucking kidding me. Shut up, Mike. Sorry guys and gals, my partner here is a bit nervous. Hard to blame him really, I won't deny I am a bit as well. But we're going to find out what's up there. That's what exploration is all about, right? Catch you all again soon. You know what, I am leaving. If you want to go up there, do it. I'm not going to follow you like some lemming walking over a cliff. Jesus Christ, Michael, have you seen anything dangerous whatsoever this entire time? I don't know what I am seeing here. It doesn't make sense. I'm out. I want you to come with me, but if you won't, please be safe. Fine, go. I'll meet you at the truck with Jeff later. Please at least edit this bit out. Alright Mike, I will. If you are going to go, just fucking go. The rest of this file goes rather uneventfully for quite some time as he leaves and she makes her way further along, so not much more to add. Recording 3. This one starts with another quick quip to her channel, though she continues to keep the light and camera on, speaking mainly as though her audience were present. It was somewhat endearing really. Well, it's just me now. Guess that didn't go so well. He's a nice guy but has no sense of adventure. Let's find out what's up there, shall we? Now she ascends for a while, penetrating the reverse expanse of the cave. It was actually when she reached the very first chamber that I had first realized that there were differences in this version of the cave system beyond just its horizontal dichotomy. I had to go back later to catch the earlier subtle hints. Holy shit, check this out guys. I could swear this hole was much deeper. Look, the floor is right there. This thing was like an endless chasm before. I'm going in. She spent a good bit of time here crawling through a long and narrow space after dropping down into the hole, and what really struck me about this particular segment of video was that she seemed to keep going forward even as the diameter of her crawl space became nauseatingly thin. I'm going to have to leave my pack here to go on. I'll grab it again on the way back. She squeezes through a really tight spot here. It's rather uncomfortable to watch, even for me. She goes on for a while, the camera disorientingly flopping about as she drags herself forward. Is someone there? Hello? I can hear you. Hello? There is definitely an audible sound of crying at this point, and Jennifer continues forward. There were some things I didn't notice about this part until I rewatched the footage for a second time. A quick flash of her headlamp dimly reveals a familiar face I did not immediately recognize the first run. Well, at least until I got a closer look shortly after. But in the second viewing it was obvious. Are you hurt? Oh my god. Help. Please, I think I sprained my ankle. It's a bit of a drop, but I have some rope in my bag. Wait for me. Some more crawling and fiddling with her gear once she got back to her stuff. Okay, I've got it. I'm gonna figure out how to get you out of there. The camera gets really dizzy for a bit now, but she apparently found something to wrap it around as the camera reveals her dropping the other end of the rope into the shallow chasm. Do you have a light? It's out of batteries. I've been here a while. I thought I was going to die. She seemed pretty distressed by the tone of her voice. In retrospect, I should have been as well. Can you see the rope I am illuminating? Yes. You only have to climb it a bit, and then grab my hand and I'll pull you up. Okay. This was the segment that fucked with me the most, I think. And I could tell it was the same for Jennifer. The injured girl made her way in a hobble to the rope and began to pull herself up by the strength of her arms before her hand met Jenny's. What the fuck? The look of horror in the girl's face which dominated the camera is sort of hard to describe. But I can tell you about the horror I felt when I realized the operator of said camera was looking at herself. I am sure I would have simply dropped her in that moment, but I have to give the girl credit, she followed through and pulled her doppelganger to safety. Who the hell are you? The girl she was rescuing didn't answer her question immediately, I don't think she had the stamina yet. But when she did, her reaction was nearly identical. Who the hell are you? What the fuck is this? There was silence here as the girl tried to crawl back away from the camera. She definitely had a frightened look. I can't imagine what she must have been feeling. You look just like me. She sort of sputtered it frantically. One thing I'd like to make clear is that they were not exactly identical. Their clothing mismatched a bit. Their hair was done slightly differently. But they were clearly the same person. Even in the sometimes blurry footage, it was obvious. I'm getting the hell out of here. Wait, please don't leave me, I can't walk on this. I don't fucking care anymore. I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my fucking mind. The injured girl was still crying, she was literally begging for help. An interesting detail you could see here which I noticed was that they both had the same tattoo on opposite sides of their waist. This was another clue I hadn't initially paid enough attention to. Jennifer seemed to calm down and take her a bit more seriously. Like I said, I'm not sure I'd have had the balls, so props to her. I'm going to try and get a stint on your foot, but I don't really know what I am doing. Neither do I. Look, I don't know what this is, but I'm going to get you out. I'm sorry I freaked out, but what is this? It's fucking insane. I don't know either. But fucking hell, this hurts like shit. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm sure you've had the same thought, but I have to ask. Please tell me your name is not Jennifer. It is. Yours is too, isn't it? Yes. You live in Bakersfield? Yes. Jesus fucking Christ. Am I really talking to myself? I think we may be. It was shocking how well they seemed to take it in stride. Maybe because they had come expecting the unexpected? Or maybe because they had bigger problems, as odd as that is to think. I don't know. Did you come because of the map Danny gave you? It was hard to tell who was talking when the camera wasn't directly facing the new Jennifer's face, but I could tell well enough from hints in their word choices. Who's Danny? Oh Christ almighty, you can't be serious. Danny? So it's real then? The flip? Look, we need to get you out of here. Just crawl and I'll help you through the hard parts. Alright. The next while was spent in relative silence as they slowly made their way out of the tunnel she had found herself in. When they reached that same first chamber, she carefully helped herself climb up and they took a moment of rest. It was a bit of an awkward scramble, I recall. So we have to sync up and figure this out, right? Like, how is it we went into the same remote cave at nearly the same time at opposite ends, yet I wound up trapped and certain I was going to die, yet you made it through? You expect me to know that? The GoPro is removed at this point and set on the ground, but the audio remains on. It's just weird. You said back there that some guy named Danny gave you the map? Yes. Do you still have it? Of course. Oh yes, we should compare them, shouldn't we? There is the sound of fumbling through a pack for a moment and then talking resumes. It's quiet, but given the absence of any other sound it's discernible. I knew it. I think we both knew it. Shit is weird, right? It's not exactly the same, even reversed. Like this tunnel over here. Alright, it doesn't matter, we know where we need to go regardless. The camera is placed back on its crown and they eventually proceed. Recording 4. Alright, we are really close, let's get you above ground into the car. No, I want to go the other way. If it's real. There's no fucking way I'm taking you all the way back. We're like, almost there. I came here for a reason. Look, what would you do? If you were in my place? I'd get to a damned hospital as fast as possible. Don't fucking kid me. If you are really me, you know yourself as well as I do. Really? We don't know what this is and you are going to pull that shit on me? Fine. You want to go, we'll go back toward my entrance. They traveled in silence again for a while, the only sounds being the groans of the injured girl and clanking of their gear as they dragged themselves slowly toward the exit. So, around the point they reached the two opposed rocks which seemed to delineate the reverse, other Jennifer spoke up off camera. So, Danny was right. Nope, I'm just your long-lost twin sister. This is crazy. More of the sounds of them shuffling along for quite some time. Eventually more words came too. How could we like? What could explain these subtle differences though? I can't stop thinking about it. Like you are so similar to me but yet, we aren't the same. Isn't there supposed to be some kind of butterfly effect or something? I don't know where you are going with this, but we have bigger problems. No, seriously, like a small change quickly turns into big changes over time, right? So how could there be two versions of us that are both so similar yet also different? This all seems so improbable. I didn't realize I was a philosopher. But, yeah, the thought crossed my mind as well. Even more time passed here and Jennifer seemed to struggle to help Jennifer deal with her equipment which was getting in the way in these narrow tunnels. After some disheveled video and a lot of groaning from Jennifer, they found their way into the slanted chamber on my side. More nauseating recordings of Jennifer watching Jennifer fucking about with gear and pack while Jennifer nursed her foot. Jennifer finally spoke again around the point where the camera showed that Jennifer was digging out a set of extra batteries for their lights. This really is the same place. But how is it reversed like this? I'm assuming that is a rhetorical question? I just had an idea. Stop for a second. The camera turned around as Jennifer put down the batteries and she looked right at Jennifer. I liked this bit because it was a clever thought, one I would not have figured to do. What are you doing? Checking for your heartbeat. Wrong side, dumbass. You could literally see the realization creep along Jennifer's face as she said it. The GoPro and light managed to frame her expression perfectly in this instant. Dear God, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. I expected as much. What are we going to do when we get out of here anyways? Mike and Jeff should be by the car waiting. There were a few moments of silence here before the camera stopped moving forward and turned back to notice Jennifer had stopped progressing, remaining in her crawling state several feet behind Jennifer. I can't really describe the terror on her face as the light caught her, Insofar as to say it was vivid. Jeff who? I assume the same Jeff who came with you? I came alone. She was nearly in tears at this point. I was beginning to have chills. Things were starting to come together in my head all of a sudden. Jeff Peters? Do you not have a Jeff Peters or something? No. 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 We have to go back, we have to go back. We need to get you to hospital. You want us to go all the way back now? No, please don't make me go to him, I beg you. She seemed to be in a full-on emotional episode at this point, and it dragged on without much said for some time. Jennifer seemed to try to drag herself back to Jennifer and comfort herself, as unusual as that is to say. We have to go, you can trust me. I can't. You have to. Please. I won't waste more time. After nearly an hour she managed to convince her to finish the last leg of their trek, albeit extremely reluctantly. They said little from here as they advanced. Then my Jennifer wearing the GoPro said the thing which would precipitate this entire discovery. I have a headache. I've been wearing this damn thing too long. Take the lamp off your head. Here, I'll get it for you. Just give me a second, my foot. It hurts like it's on fucking fire. Don't lose it, I need this footage. I'll hook it on your pack strap. We can compare footage later. Everything twisted and turned on the screen for several seconds, and soon it snapped back to some consistency as it swung back and forth facing the ground, presumably from her pack. This went on for a short time. Neither seemed to notice when the thing fell off, and from that point on the video was just a cold stone surface for several hours until, presumably, the battery died. There is a lot I could say about this, yet it's hard to know what it means, what it is. I don't know. It terrifies me. If I had been more attentive, I might have picked up on it right from the start. I had been in that cave. Maybe just once, but I had seen it for myself. I knew those people as well. 2 of them at least, by name. Once I realized it, I went and bought a GoPro of the same model. I compared them side by side. The locations of the SD ports, even the locations of the buttons on them. I wasn't imagining it. The one they had dropped, the one I had been watching from the very beginning. Everything was backward. I knew then I had to go back to that cave. It scares the living shit out of me, but I can't sleep, I just keep thinking about it. I know I'm going to wind up back there again. I just know it. I know what I did to her was wrong. I was drunk, and so was she. Even if I got off easy, I paid a heavy price emotionally, and I never held her terror and resentment toward me against her. I deserve every ounce of her rage. But over there is a Jennifer who never knew that pain. Maybe I can make things right? Probably not. But I have to try. And I can't but help but wonder what that other Jeff Peters is like.